Flex the artist. I'm not worried about who you texting, little check-in, life's a gym, I don't sweat it. I'm just steady flexing. Flex, I'm just steady flexing. Shaking up the room, yeah, I'm flexing. Plenty at work, yeah, I'm flexing. Tell by the gear that I'm flexing. Hope you got stamina, flex.
What it be like we the G-type? Underneath the street light, I'm the one they wanna be like. Public enemy, like D-Nice hit the whip, spray the vehicle. Come
here. Just start off by saying this is a 2-track beat. And let's look what I did to it. So started off with some EQ and just carved out a little space there for the vocal. Also ran it in a limiter and kept it at -1 dB so it wouldn't peak and clip. And so that's usually a good starting point. Also another good starting point is to get the BPM of the beat, so that way you can lock in the tempo, which would be right here. So 166 was the BPM of the beat. Lock that in. The key of the beat, E major. Okay, so get all that stuff beforehand, especially if you're going to use auto-tune. And yeah, let's dive into a little vocal processing. So let's mute the beat. Let's mute these dubs, these ad-libs.
It be like we the G-type, underneath the street light, I'm the one they wanna be like. Public enemy, like D-Nice hit the whip, spray the vehicle. Commander like I'm G.I. Joe, 2 things I never seen before me, bro, and then UFO. Got smoke, who won't get a poke, she ain't.
So as you can see here, 2 tracks for the main, just in case there's a punch in, right, and that has an overlap. Always good to use 2 tracks. Sometimes you might need 3, depending on if there's multiple overlaps, but if you don't, then 2 usually is suffice. So the routing, you can see I got Prevox, okay? So what that is my vocals are gonna go into a first bus, and just some subtractive EQ, just to get rid of any unwanted frequencies. And I run that through the CLA 76. Some light compression, not doing too much, some de-essing, and then I run it through the SSL channel. Put it through this Silky Lee vocal preset, and then just tweak a few things. Turn analog off, obviously, otherwise you're gonna get white noise coming from the plugin. You don't want that. So vocals will go through that bus first, then they'll come out of that and go into my main vocal bus here. So if you have Wave Studio Verse, you could you have access to anybody's vocal chains, not just vocals, you know, mastering chains, drum chains, guitars, 808s, keys, you name it, you type it in there. And if you wanted to use like a Grammy winning engineers chains, you could do that too. Lou Diaz is in there, Tony Maserati's in there, Guru's in there, you know, everybody you could think of, big names are in there. So my vocal chain consists of the C4 multi-band compression. I start off with the default preset, and then I basically just sweep over the mid until it lands pretty much in the middle, and that way I can cover 2 areas at once, low mids and high mids.
It be like we the G-type, underneath the street light, I'm the one they wanna be like. Public enemy, like me.
That's just capturing and controlling those 2 frequency ranges. My dynamic EQ, usually this isn't always a one-size-fits-all, but what I do is I'll set my 4-band, I bring my backside, my low will come up anywhere from like 90 to 150, depending on, you know, how much bass is in someone's voice.
It be like we the G-type, underneath the street light, I'm the one they wanna be like. Public enemy, like D-Nice hit the...
So what I do here is I take that 4-band, put it in the high pass mode, and then I turn my range all the way down, and then I just set my threshold where I can kind of hear it clean up the vocal, so it's not too bass heavy, but it's also not too thin, right? So if I
It be like we the G-type, underneath the street light. I'm the one they wanna be like, public enemy. Like D-Nice hit the whip, spray the vehicle. Commander like I'm G.I. Joe. Two things I never seen before, me broke and then UFO. Got smoke who won't get a poke. She ain't happy, then let her go. I rock no mama planet, cause she say the boy is diggable.
So after the EQ, do a little R comp, and I have my attack fast all the way. Release in the middle, ratio anywhere from 4 to 4.5, and the threshold can vary. Mine is 24. Sometimes, you know, if we want to give back more vocal for volume purposes, so it's sitting more on top of the mix, I'll be upwards of like, you know, minus 19. But in this particular case, we went with minus 24. Then we hit another de-esser, male S preset, and then just scale it down to taste. Then we hop into the SSL EQ. In here, I usually just boost a little bit for 4 dB up at the 10K range, just to bring out some more air and presence in his voice. And then the CLA 2A just for peak reduction. And this is also a tool that I'll use to get the vocal where it needs to be in the mix.
It be like we the G-type, underneath the street light. I'm the one they wanna be like, public enemy. Like D-Nice hit the whip, spray the vehicle. Commander like
6 dB of peak reduction. And then we're running that through the True Verb reverb from Waves with the tight New York room preset. Turn the early reflection all the way down. Typically, I'll usually trim off the low end for the reverb, but sometimes it doesn't make sense to do that. So if we just, I'll show you. So tight New York room, I take the pre-delay, I send that all the way late to 160, turn the early reflection off, turn that down, leave the reverb wet knob all the way up.
It be like we the G-type, underneath the street light. I'm the one they wanna be like, public enemy. Like D-Nice hit the whip, spray the vehicle. Commander like I'm G.I. Joe. Two things.
I use delay on the vocals as a constant just to create some dimension and width. Sometimes it's unnecessary. I'll use, you know, sometimes I'll just use the delay on a send bus, and then I can kind of gauge where I want the delay to come in if I want to use a side chain, which I have, as you can see here, we have extra delay, and that's triggered from the vocal side chained. It's squashed, so that way it only comes out when there's no vocal signal.
It be like we the G-type, underneath the street light. I'm the one they wanna be like, public enemy. Like D-Nice hit the whip, spray the vehicle. Commander like I'm G.I. Joe. Two things I never seen before, me broke and then UFO. Got smoke who won't get a poke. She ain't happy, then let her go. I rock no mama planet, cause she say the boy is diggable. Put that pussy in the figure four and beat it like we boxing. Gotta say I'm Brandon, I don't do this very often. Don't ever double cross him on in crossfire. If you show me money like I'm Jerry Maguire. Nigga green like a forest fire. Shorty head is fire. She energetic like a live wire. I cannot lie. I get top like a mop top. Like poof, wide lock. I'ma hit some dime piece. Shorty 5 plus 5.
I'm not worried about who you texting. Little check-in, life's a jam, I don't sweat it.
So as you can see here, we got some stacks from LX and some auto-tune. And then after the auto-tune, and this is just to add extra flavor. Typically, I would send the vocals right into a aux bus with auto-tune on it, just to avoid overloading the CPU. But we were safe in this case because there was only a few tracks that had it, and he was the only artist that was going to be using it anyways. So EQ after that, just to trim off low end, keep his vocals light, since they are kind of, hook and backing vocals. And then I like to do this with my spreads. I use the PS22, and after that I'll throw on the S1 imager and then just spread them out a little more. I'll show you what that sounds like.
I'm not worried about who you texting, little check-in. Life's a gym, I don't sweat it. I'm just steady flexing. Flex, I'm just steady flexing. Shaking up the room, yeah, I'm flexing.
If they're background vocals and they're a hook, then that's not going to do you any good, because everything's going to clash, right? And sometimes, using auto pan, that could be problematic too, because you'll have phasing issues where the signal's just going to run into another one, or it's just not going to sound right because it's moving too much. So with this, I can keep everything spread and use the whole stereo field accordingly with vocals.
I'm not worried about who you texting, little check-in. Life's a gym, I don't sweat it. I'm just steady flexing. Flex, I'm just steady flexing. Shaking up the room, yeah, I'm flexing. Flex, plenty of that work, yeah, I'm flexing. Tell by the gear that I'm flexing. Hope you got stamina, flex.
Watch my story turn to glow.
I know you can hear that headphone bleed, but that's not an issue. I mean, I got everything tamed with the NS1. It's on just about every track, minus this one. But that's just to keep everything to a minimum in the background.
I'm not worried about who you texting, little check-in. Life's a gym, I don't sweat it. I'm just steady flexing. Flex, I'm just steady flexing. Shaking up the room, yeah, I'm flexing. Plenty of that work, yeah, I'm flexing. Tell by the gear that I'm flexing. Hope you got stamina, flex.
Watch my story turn to glory. I rock more.
So let's go jump in down here to the routing for the master. So all my vocals go into all these buses, pre-vox, the main vox, the sends, whatever, and those are all coming out into the submaster, which is then going out to the master. My master chain starts off with the C4 multi-band, and I usually just go with default, so that way I can listen to where those settings are, and those bands are in good spots as a default, and I like to just kind of zone in on the low end and the mid and the high, just to see if I need to boost or tame anything. And then after that, I like to go with the TG mastering chain from Abbey Roads, and I like the vintage mastering glue plugin, the preset, and I'll basically, if I'm touching anything on there, it's the stereo width, because sometimes that won't sound natural just on the preset, so you might have to mess around with that, increase it or decrease it, whatever you got to do. The Schweppes parallel particle, this thing's dope. You can add high end, you can add mid-range thickness and some clarity, or if you got to boost the low end to get some more bass. Then we like to jump into the J37. This analog Abbey Roads plugin is by far one of my favorite. It's a go-to. I'll sometimes use this on vocal buses as well for like warmth and saturation, but this is always on my master channel. And I like the 811 tape, and I can link the input and output, so if I want more, it'll adjust accordingly. Push the output, bring the input down. Then I like to run into the API 2500 compressor and turn your analog off, remember, don't want that white noise. And then I monitor with the WLM, the loudness meter. Set that for Spotify -14. Keep an eye on this. Make sure that you're not going off short term, because that's going to change in different sections of the song when it gets lower or louder. Right? Long term is what you're looking at. So
Swimming with the sharks there, and a few piranhas, 100K this year, but I need 2 more commas.
I'm not worried about who you texting, little check-in. Life's a gym, I don't sweat it. I'm just steady flexing.
Flex,
I'm just steady flexing.
flex, flex,
Shaking up the room, yeah, I'm flexing.
flex,
Plenty of
flex,
that work, yeah, I'm
flex,
flexing.
flex,
And
flex.
then on the master, I like to use the Ozone Elements plugin, and I'll use the Master Assistant. Try to just see where I have problematic areas in my mix. So if it's telling me I needed to boost my low end, I would go back and address that. If I had too much in the highs or the high mids, ducking that down, I would adjust that accordingly. And then I do another loudness meter on there, just on the final, to make sure that the volume is where it needs to be. The loudness is, at the industry standard. Make sure everything's pushed out the right way. Doesn't sound weird, doesn't sound low in some sections. It gives it that uniformity all the way through, just like you would hear on a commercial record. And you could even go a step further, and you could print different versions. So what you would do is you would add another track, stereo. Call this the print track, and then from there you would pick a bus, right? Name that, and we'll call that the print bus. And then that gets sent out to your master, but your submaster is now going to go to your print bus. And then from here, you can load up additional compression to see what you want to do or what it will do. Let's just say we just take the SSL comp real quick. We come down here, we'll say we're going to use mastering one, turn your analog off, and just use presets like that, and then just arm it for record, and then hit record, and you'll see your whole print come out. And then you could do that also with other compressors too, and that'll give you variation of sound and see which master you feel like is, the one that you want, the one that sounds the best. Sometimes, I'll do this, 2 or 3 times, different compressors, and then, there might be too much compression, or it'll just take away the raw, glossy feel. It'll just warm it up too much. So then I'll just go back to the regular master that I had, and that'll be that. But then there's cases where, a certain compressor will actually make a huge difference. Whether it's adding color or it's just adding more dynamic punch, and then we'll end up going with that one. But it's good to have choices and options to listen to compare to. So, but let's get rid of this track. We don't need it anymore. It's going out. And that's basically my standard process for when I'm doing this. So yeah, this is Flexin by Brandon Grindz featuring Alex the Artist. Dope track. I had the honor and privilege of doing both of his most recent mixtapes, Red October and Trappin' Up North. I hope you guys check those out. They're on all DSPs, and let me know what you think. And if you like this video, definitely like it, throw me a subscribe, and I'll do more of these. I'm trying to get around to doing more of these now that I'm set up properly. And if you have any questions or anything that I might help you with, by all means, write them in the comments, and I'll do my best to address them and make more videos and more content on this. All right, here we go.
Alex the Artist. I'm not worried about who you texting, little check-in. Life's a gym, I don't sweat it. I'm just steady flexing. I'm just steady flexing. Plenty of that work, yeah, I'm flexing. Tell by the kid that I'm flexing. Hope you got stamina for this flexing.
What it be like, we the G-type. Underneath the street light, I'm the one they wanna be like. Public enemy, like D-Nice hit the whip, spray the vehicle. Commander like I'm G.I. Joe. Two things I never seen before me broke. And the UFO got smoke, who won't get a poke? She ain't happy, then let her go. I rock no mama planet, cause she say the boy is diggable. Put that pussy in the finger four and beat it like we boxing. Gotta say I'm Brandon, I don't do this very often. Don't ever double cross him or ain't in crossfire. If you show me money like I'm Jerry Maguire. Nigga green like a forest fire. Shorty head is fire. She energetic like a live wire. I cannot lie. I get top like a mop top. Like poof, wide lie. I'ma hit some dime piece. Shorty 5 plus 5.
I'm not worried about who you texting. Little check-in, life's a gym, I don't sweat it. I'm just steady flexing.
Flex,
I'm just steady flexing.
flex,
Shaking up the room, yeah, I'm flexing.
flex,
Plenty of
flex,
that work, yeah, I'm flexing.
flex,
Tell by the kid that I'm flexing.
flex.
Hope you got stamina for this flex.
Watch my story turn to glory. I rock Maurice with the flurries. It is very necessary. I get saucy, extra curry. I'm too bossy, yeah, bitch hurry. I stay dripping, belly. Twist my fingers like spaghetti. I go dumb like Kelly Bundy. I rap hundo after hundo, and the bedroom I got nothing to do. I can be your daddy, role manager, your uncle too. Boo, got a new look and sit up like 2 books. Some niggas wanna approach me, so I don't give 2 fucks. She nasty like root beer. J man, let's start there. Without the parking meter, yeah, bitch, I get you parked there. Swimming with the sharks there, and a few piranhas, 100K to ship, but I need 2 more commas.
I'm not worried about who you texting. Little check-in, life's a gym, I don't sweat it. I'm just steady flexing.
Flex,
I'm just steady flexing.
flex,
Shaking up the room, yeah, I'm flexing. Plenty of that work, yeah, I'm flexing. Tell by the kid that I'm flexing. Hope you got stamina for this flexing. So what's up?
Thanks for watching, guys. Throw this video a like, subscribe, and let them know if you're looking for that sauce, that industry sound. Rocker Productions LLC. You can find me on all socials. Google me. DM me if you're looking to book a session. I do remote mixing as well. Whatever I can help you guys with, let me know.